All right, you're in the home stretch. You've made it to day 9 out of our 10 days. And hopefully by now, you have a better understanding of how you're wired and how God has uniquely made you. And hopefully by now, you're starting to put together some of the action steps that you need to be able to start moving forward in the things that you've identified and come to learn about yourself. So now that we have drilled into long-term goals and short-term goals, and if you haven't done that already, or if you haven't watched those videos, I would highly recommend that you go back and watch any videos that you may be missing, because the whole design of this 10-day jumpstart is to walk you through a process that's very intentional in being able to start by fleshing out certain things, and then second, by putting together an action plan. And they really build on one another. For those of you that have been along the process and the journey with me, hopefully you're seeing that starting to kind of come into fruition, and these last few days are really going to drive it home. So now you've done the long-term goals, you've done the short-term goals. Now what, right? Now you've got hopefully what you have an idea of that you want to pursue and lean into, and you've set your 90-day goal, your 60-day goal, your 1-week goal, and some of you have put the comments, in the comments you put those goals out there so that everybody knows about them now. So you're like, all right, here we go, we're going to do this. But that doesn't change the fact that you still have a lot going on in your life. If you're like 99% of people who are not just sitting around doing nothing, then you have a lot on your plate. And so today what we're going to do is we're going to start to flush out what your no's need to be and really identifying what your competing commitments are. Because there's a difference between, like I've said before, if something comes up, or maybe you're sick or the car breaks down, like there's circumstances that obviously life happens. But for a lot of us, we can stay busy enough on things that don't move us forward where we need to go, that we feel like we're doing something, even though that those actions that we're doing, they're not helping us really step into a more fulfilled and full life. And so today we're going to flush out, or help you flush out, what those are that are more than just circumstantial, but really what are the things that are detracting from everything that you've kind of identified in the goals that you've started to set. So you've started by prioritizing your yes. And now it's time to prioritize your no, because everything that you're saying yes to, you're saying no to something else. And it's really important for you to know and to understand what it is that you're saying no to. So here's the really practical, we're going down into the practical today. And kind of like yesterday, with the goals. But that is, this is another day where if you don't have a notepad and pen, you're probably going to want to do that. Hopefully by now you've realized that I'm the kind of person that with me and my journal and writing things down, it actually activates a different part of your brain than just kind of the imagination side of things. There's all kinds of benefits for writing things down. But today's another one of those days where you're going to want something to write it down. Even if it's just a scrap piece of paper and a pen or a pencil and you're just jotting stuff down. It's good to write it down. Here's why. Because the first step is you're going to write down everything that you can think of that you have going on in your life. Now, this is from maybe your job, your careers, your hobbies, the things that you do on the weekends with your family, the commitments that you have with your kids, the maybe some new opportunities that have come up. Like as best you can, try to put onto paper so that you can visually see everything that's currently on your plate. And that includes what you've put onto your SMART goals, your short-term goals, because now that's part of your focus. If it wasn't already, maybe it already is and it doesn't change anything, but if it wasn't already, you need to add that to your list of everything you have going on, because now you're taking some of those practical steps, which is taking up some of your time. And you only have so much time. Time is the one resource that no matter how hard you try, you can never get back. So we want to maximize that time by understanding what we need to strip away. So the first step is writing everything down. I mean, just even if it takes 30 minutes, maybe it takes 30 seconds if you don't have a lot going on. But the goal is pull everything out, okay? And then once you do that, I want you to go through and prioritize as best you can. I mean, some of them may be too close to really put a number next to, but prioritize them as best you can from, if it's 3 things, then 1 to 3. If it's 35 things, then 1 to 35. For me, I am the ever guilty ADHD entrepreneur that you can ask my wife. Sometimes it drives her crazy of, oh, well, I could go start this business, and I had this idea yesterday, so I'm going to go build that, and I'm going to, this, let's see here, this whiteboard right here is the boiled down version of everything I have going on, and some of that's even changed in the last few days. So especially for me, it's really helpful to know not just what my goals are, but what I need to actually say no to and either put on pause or completely remove off my plate. And that's why you want to prioritize your list, no matter how many you've got. And then once you have that done, here's what we're going to do. Take the top 5 that are the most important, that hit that priority category. And you're going to pull those out. Now, let me give you a couple disclaimers or maybe hopefully helpful things for finding out the priority sequence. There's a few things that you want to ask yourself. One is, what do I believe that God is really highlighting for me right now? Because understanding the season or the time that you're in is almost as important as actually doing whatever it is that you're going to do. Because if you're in the wrong time, but you're trying to do the right thing in the wrong time, it can be more counterproductive than even doing the right thing at the right time. That made sense. Yeah, that made sense. And so the goal is to really ask yourself, what do I believe that I've seen either excitement around, like a lot of excitement in my heart, that I've seen favor in, where things have started to happen. Every small step that I start to take, it feels like the momentum doesn't fall in line with the amount of investment that I'm making. So where is that at? Where is the favor at? Where is the life at? God's presence at? However you connect to that vein that you want to stay in, what is it within the things that I'm doing that my heart comes most alive in? Doesn't mean that you might not be afraid or sweaty palms or any of that. You're not looking to just be comfortable, but what are the things that really has life on it for you right now? And that's going to be the filter that you want to look at everything through to then find the priority, the top 5 priority, okay? Now, once you've done that, once you have your top 5 and you've taken the time to go, okay, God, what is it that you really want me to focus on? Where do I feel that excitement? Where do I feel that life? Where's my heart come alive? What is it within all of this? And not all of it will be that. I mean, it may be that right now one of the top 5 for you is taking your kids to soccer practice because family is one of your high values, and just where you're at in life, that needs to be in one of those top 5. So it doesn't mean to be ignorant to the responsibilities and the reality of your life, but at the same time, it's to integrate the passions and desires and the things that God's really highlighted in you. And so once you have that list, you have the top 5, here's what you have to do. Really hard for people like me, I'm sure it's not you, but people like me, is to then, after you have that 5, you actually need to put together a game plan for what is it going to look like to begin to remove and eliminate the things that are not in that top 5. Because the reality is if you try to manage 15 things instead of 5 things, you're actually spreading your emotions, your attention, your focus, your creative energy, you're spreading it too wide. And so you actually become less effective in being able to build any kind of momentum in any of them because you're spread so thin. So once you have that 5, and it may be that, number 6 and number 7, you're like, I want to squeeze that in there and try to just do a little bit more. And you can. I'm not saying you can't, just like with any of this stuff. You can do whatever you want. I'm just saying from my own life experiences and from lessons I've had to learn the really hard way, it's not impossible, but it is very hard and often detrimental to try to manage more than 5 things that really command your attention and your focus. Now, some of those, again, the kids as an example, may be the exception, but most of them should still fall into everything else that we've built towards today. So it should still fall within your strengths or your desires or your dreams or especially your SMART goals. Like all of these steps need to fall in line with one another, and that way you're beginning to fine tune and focus in on where it is that you need to put your attention. So it is do a brain drain of everything you have going on in your life, take some time, figure out the top 5 priority based on where you feel alive, where you feel God's pleasure, where you feel favor, or every small action you take, there's a lot of momentum. Highlight the top 5, and then actually think about how are you going to remove everything outside that 5. Doesn't mean that if it's a business or anything crazy that you shut it down, or let's say maybe your job's in that, you're not quitting it, but you need to put together a game plan of, okay, if it's not in my top 5 right now, how am I going to transition out of that being a part of my bandwidth and my focus? So it may be that it's in you have a 3-month goal or even a 6-month goal of saying, okay, by the end of the 6 months, I want to remove whatever that is that's number 9 on my list. I can't just quit it. That would be irresponsible and reacting to my emotions irresponsibly and all of that. But it's to put together a game plan. Some of them you could probably just eliminate right off the bat and go, you know what, I have to say no to these things so that I can say yes to these. But some you need to flush out and spend some time with. Then, as you know, I love having you guys throw things in the comments. It's that good old public accountability, as well as just me really getting to know you guys. And there's several of you that are either local or that I've had relationship with. And so it's just an absolute honor for me to be a small part of your process and your journey. And you guys commenting lets me selfishly feel a part of that. So there's a lot of good that comes from comments, not just for you, but also for me. It's a thank you to me for the time that I've put into this. So what you want to do is, in your comments or in the comments for today, we're at almost our last day, is put your top 5. What are those top 5 things that you need to put your attention towards that fall in line with your SMART goals, with your long-term goals, with your strengths, with your vision, with your dreams, all of that? What are those top 5 things that you're saying, for where I'm at right now, I'm going to put my focus and my attention locked into and solely on these areas, and everything that's outside of it, I'm going to find a way to slowly pull back from. And let me also lastly say this, is that if there's something that's not in your top 5 that you start to pull away from, and all of a sudden doing things like let's using favor as the example, where if you take a small step, there's a lot of momentum behind that small step. If you start to pull back and realize that actually pulling back from whatever it may be, let's just say that, I don't know, you want to become a yoga teacher and you think like, that's not practical, it's not in my top 5. And so you stop kind of trying to pursue that, but yet it consistently still comes up. And if you put your attention towards it slightly, there's a lot of momentum or response to that. Then it may be that you need to shift around your top 5. So it's fluid to a degree, but you also want to be intentional about semi-locking it in so that you can hone in and stay focused on those. So that's what we're doing today, is finding your top 5 to focus on, and that way you can actually find everything you need to be saying no to. Because again, without doing these kinds of things, you're just spreading yourself thin and you're staying really busy, but you're not fine-tuning and perfecting the area that you should be focusing on for you to ultimately come fully alive, to then help other people around you come fully alive in the area that you focused on. So go ahead, after you're done flushing out your list, put on in the comments the top 5, and I look forward to seeing what you guys throw in. Sarah, yeah, I'll take the agreement. That's awesome. So yeah, we'll see. I look forward to seeing what you guys come up with your top 5 that you're going to be focusing on.